Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Scary Story Reddits with me, of course. We have creepy encounters, we have Let's Not Meet, we have paranormal activity, we have all the things. We have a woman who thinks she has a mimic demon haunting her, trying to lure her to her ultimate ending. And then we have a man that's doing DoorDash that has a special guest. I'm not gonna spill the beans, you guys. I'm not gonna tell you what happens. And then we have another one. And this person has a history of night terrors and freaking out, thinking things are real. But this one thing might just not be in his imagination. And everybody wants to chalk it up to his imagination till the next morning. I can't tell you too much. I don't want to ruin it for you, but it's so good. I was like, Shia. Anyways, you guys, we have a lot to get through today, and I cannot wait to share these with you. So without further ado, let's freaking get it. But wait. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to subscribe. I do DoorDash as a side gig, and months ago, someone was in my back seat. I used to do DoorDash on the side, just for some extra cash, nothing too crazy, until a few months ago, when something happened that I still can't stop thinking about. And to be honest, I haven't done a single delivery since. It was around 11 p.m., and I was finishing up my last order for the night. The delivery was in a quiet, upscale LA neighborhood, nothing out of the ordinary. I pull up, leave the car running like I always do, grab the food, and drop it off. Super normal, no weird vibes from the customer or anything. But as I walk back to my car, something feels off. I can't explain it, but the air felt heavier, like I could sense something was wrong before I even got to the door. I get in the driver's seat, close the door, and glance in the rear view mirror. That's when I see him. There's a guy sitting in the back seat, just sitting there, hoodie pulled low over his face, completely still. My heart stopped. I was frozen, staring at him through the mirror, trying to figure out how the hell he got in my car. I managed to stammer out, "Can I help you?" And that's when he leans forward just a little, and I can finally see his eyes. They were wide and bloodshot, like he hadn't slept in days. He leans back again, and in the calmest voice says, "Drive." I don't know why, but I did. I started driving, my mind racing, trying to figure out what to do. He didn't even say anything else, just sat there, completely calm, while I drove through these dark streets. And I'm just freaking out inside, thinking, this is it. I'm going to get robbed, or worse. Then he tells me to turn down a side street. It's dark, barely any streetlights, and I'm just thinking, this is where it's going to go down. But right as we approach a gas station, well lit, a few people around, I slam on the brakes, throw the car in park, and jump out screaming for help. The gas station clerk runs out, and I'm yelling that there's a guy in my back seat. But when we go back to the car, it's empty. The guy was gone. No sign of him anywhere. He just vanished. I have no idea how he got out so fast and where he went, but I didn't care. I got back in my car, locked the doors, and drove straight home. I have replayed that night over and over in my head, and it still doesn't make sense. That was months ago, and I haven't touched the DoorDash app since. I don't know if I ever will. It's not worth risking something like this happening again. This is one of my most deep-seated nightmares. And I think it stems from watching this movie called Urban Legends as a kid, where I don't even remember the scene, but I remember something catastrophic happens to this character. I don't remember what happens. I think it's a very insane scene. I'll have to rewatch it. Anyways, there's somebody in the back seat, and because they didn't look before getting in, that's why they ended up getting neutralized. So every time I get in the vehicle, I don't care if I'm getting in with friends, I'm checking that back seat. And if I was this guy and this happened to me, I would have checked my trunk as well before getting back in my car. Because who knows? You know, they have those buttons where you can just push and the car seats go down. I don't know if that's how your car is. But also, rule of thumb, my guy, never, ever, ever, I don't care if it makes it more efficient, don't ever leave your car running and get out of the vehicle. Don't ever do that. And definitely do not leave your car unlocked. This is not a paranoid thing. I have only seen one, and one is already too many. One video of a woman, she gets out to deliver food to somebody. Within a second, you see somebody come out of nowhere, jump in her car and steal that shit. It happens. You have to always plan for the worst. I know, that's no life to live. But you know what? If you don't want to sit there and have to call the cops and figure out a ride home and blah, 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 take that extra 2 seconds, take out your keys, lock your door as you're walking up to deliver the food, unlock your door when you're walking back, and get in. Then you don't have to worry about somebody being in your back seat, somebody stealing your vehicle. Problem solved. Anyways, let's go to the comments. Commenter, something similar happened to me. I got off work super late one night. I closed up the building with one other person. I used to park behind the building, and when I made it to the end of the alley, I realized there was a man in my car. He was obviously on drugs, but I was all alone at like midnight and didn't know what to do. Luckily, my job required me to be armed at all times, so I pulled out my gun and screamed at him to fuck off. Opie responded, "Wow, that is wild. Thankfully, you were armed and ready." That's the thing. I didn't even mention what time of night it is. It's 11 o'clock at night. What are you thinking? It is late. It is like prime time for criminals. 11, it's like 11 to like 4 a.m. It's like crime time. Prime crime time. Oh man, oh man, oh man. Commenter, 1. Have an extra key so you can lock your car while it's running. Good point. 2. Check your back seat before getting in your car. Always. Always, 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 always. I don't care if it is 12 o'clock in the afternoon and you just went into the grocery store. Check your back seat. 3. Never go to a second location with anyone. Fight to the death if you have to, because it'll be a better death than what any creep has in store for you. 4. Carry a concealed weapon and know how to use it safely and effectively. Yes, and also, if you are someone who hates certain weapons, have something like mace, or even have something like bear mace. Because I'll tell you right now, some people somehow are like immune to mace. I don't know what it is. Or just have mace. Have something that you can use at a distance. Things like a knife or a bat, you know, something that somebody has to be close to you for you to use. It's not going to be efficient in an emergency situation. You need something that can give you distance between you and whatever or whoever is coming at you or wanting to hurt you. Yes, if you use pepper spray in your car, you're probably going to get a little residue, but the most of it is going to go right in that mother trucker's eyes. Anyways, you guys, let's go to another one. We found a homeless person in our house. Disclaimer, I don't think all homeless people are scary or bad intentioned or creepy. I do think my encounter with the homeless person was creepy, however. Of course, we don't think that. This happened in 2019. I was 25 at the time. I was living with my parents' sister and my partner at the time, as we were saving up to buy a house. My parents' house is in a relatively big city in California, which has a big homeless population. The house was on a street that dead into a park, which was a common hangout spot for homeless people. There's always homeless people walking by our house. Most of them never caused any problem. The other piece of backstory you need to know is that my sister is special needs. She, despite being 19 at the time, appeared both physically and mentally more like a 10-year-old. This particular day, my mom and I had taken her dogs to the vet. My partner was at work, and my dad was working in the backyard. This left my sister kind of alone in the house. When my mom and I came back from the vet, my sister opened the door and greeted us saying, "This is my friend Julia." Behind her stood a woman who looked like she was probably in her 20s. She had my sister's socks on and was eating food from our house. This was confusing because the woman could have been a friend of my sister's, as she was in a lot of programs for adults with special needs, and we didn't necessarily know all of her friends. But my sister also had a limited vocabulary to explain situations with. So my mom says, "Oh, you know my daughter?" Julia says, "We are getting to know each other." "Nope." My mom says, "How are you getting to know her?" Julia answers, "Oh, well, I just live on the corner." "You live around the corner?" "No, I live on the corner. I needed a tampon, so your daughter let me in." At this point, my mom is speechless. I have never seen her speechless in my life. I am whispering to her, "Get her out." Julia is kind of pacing around, grabbing more food from our kitchen. She is acting erratically like she is on drugs. I again tell my mom, "Get her the fuck out." I know that, but what if she has a knife or a gun or something? I need to do it carefully. My mom follows Julia into the kitchen and says, "I'm so sorry. You need to leave because I need to go run an errand." Julia ignores this request. At this point, I look in our bathroom where there is a pile of Julia's things. Again, my mom tells her she needs to leave. Julia agrees and goes into our bathroom and locks the door. She was in there for a while. It felt like forever, but it was probably around 5 minutes. We were pretty certain she is doing drugs. Finally, Julia has all her stuff and leaves, taking socks and snacks with her. I ran to get my dad and we all debriefed. It seems like what we can get out of my sister is that Julia knocked on the door asking for a tampon, in which my sister lets her in, trying to be helpful. Julia then realizes she is practically alone with what looks like a child and takes full advantage, stealing clothes and shoes from us. We have a serious talk with my sister and tell her she can't open doors for strangers, and we spend the next few months worrying that Julia would spread the news that our house was an easy house to get in. Okay, so if this girl who is special needs doesn't understand that you do not open the door for strangers if you are alone, you should not have left her alone. When I was actually 10 years old, not mentally, my mom beat it into us until we were black and blue. Don't ever, ever, ever answer the door for strangers unless you are expecting something like pizza or takeout. And again, be careful. Do not let them inside. Don't let any mother trucker inside. Nobody. I understand she's special needs. I get it. But why didn't you just take her with you if she can't be trusted alone? She has the mentality of a 10-year-old, which nowadays, I'm going to be completely frank, and this might come off a little mean. 10-year-olds cannot be alone anymore. Even some 12-year-olds cannot be alone. It's like a lot of people lack life skills because they have been coddled. So when things like this happen, they want to be this really great person, which that's fine, but they see the best in everybody instead of worst case scenario. I know I'm a little extreme with my paranoia. I know I'm well aware, but you know what's not going to happen? This. My kids aren't going to let this happen. You need to drill your children if you are going to leave them alone. Or have a Ring camera. Have some kind of camera at your front door. And you answer the door and say, "Get the fuck off my property." Nobody's going to give you a tampon. Or, you know what? If the I'll chuck a tampon out the door if you step a few feet back. Get away from my house. Let's read some comments. Commenter, is there any fencing or added fencing with no visibility you can add? And a gate with a lock? It seems just with the situation and should be okay zoning wise. Commenter, we have since moved out of this house, but yes, there was a privacy fence in the backyard and a picket fence in the front yard. So she walked through your fence to get to the front door. What the? I'll never understand this. If you are some kind of solicitor or whatever, opening something to get to somebody's front door. Like, I'm not gonna open somebody's privacy door, like those metal screen doors, the security doors. Do knock on your door. Sorry, but we're going to the next house. We ain't stopping. No. Because most of the time, they don't want solicitors to begin with, let alone a homeless person asking for hygiene products. Anyways, let's go to another. My true house cleaning horror story. This happened 7.5 years ago, June 23rd, 2016, while I was cleaning out my house. I was renting a house for a year, and the year was almost up. I wasn't going to be living there the next year, so it was time for me to start cleaning out and moving my stuff to my next place. The house that I had at the time was fairly small, but it was plenty of space for just me. I lived there by myself and had just finished cleaning out the living room, other than basic furniture, and I had moved on to clean the kitchen. There was quite a few cabinets, so many that I didn't use a good number of them. I was looking through some of them that I didn't use to make sure that there was nothing I had in them. One of them I opened up and saw something in the back corner. It looked like some type of shirt or rag. I grabbed it and saw that I didn't think it was mine, but when I moved it, it revealed a small lever that I could barely see. The cabinet was in the corner and sorted by the sink and halfway blocked by the stove. I thought it was just another pipe, but it just looked a little different to me. I got inside and had to crawl inside the cabinet, which was pretty large. Once I got inside, I saw there was a small trap door to the side, leading into the wall. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. You had to be completely inside in order to see the detail of it. I decided to open the door, which led to an extremely narrow hallway with some sort of crawl space. But when I got further inside, I was horrified. I saw that there was food, as well as several blankets, as if someone had been living inside of there. The good news, at least to me, is that whoever was in there was gone. I tried to make sense of it and figure out how long the person had been there, and how I didn't know about it. I was gone from the house a lot with work and other stuff, but I didn't know how it was possible for someone to live in there without me knowing. I continued cleaning until it got pretty late, and the next day after I continued. I was still kind of in shock with finding a secret room in my house, and decided to look at it once again. I opened the cabinet and went inside. Then I pulled the lever open just like I had the previous day. But this time, as soon as I opened it, I saw movement. And then I saw a person for a split second. They slammed the door back shut on me, and I immediately turned and ran all the way out of my house to my car, and then called the police. I was so scared, and I started driving away as well. I opened up my phone, told the police the whole situation, and they came to my house a short time later to find that whoever had been there was gone now. I was absolutely disgusted knowing that this random person had access to my house for who knows how long. It felt like a vivid nightmare I need to wake up from. When I opened up my phone to call the police, it showed that the date was June 23rd, 2016. I still remember this date, 7 years later. It stayed with me like a scar I didn't know if I will ever heal from. Luckily for me, I moved out the next week. I really don't know how long this person was living in my secret room, but thankfully it never gave me a problem. Thanks for reading my true horror story. As someone who has already experienced things like home invasion, I would always suggest that you lock your doors because you can never know what people can do when they are in your house. Froggers are so scary, but also not. Because most of the time, they're just there because they have nowhere to go. I feel like most of them probably have no ill intention. They're just really trying to eat your food and have somewhere to live that's not outside on the street, which very uncomfortable. But if they're not plotting your death, it's scary. It's scary no matter how you slice it. Let's be real. It's just scary. Somebody's invading your privacy, your space, and who knows? Was this person watching you sleep? Was this person like walking around while you're sleeping just for the thrill of it? I hate this. I hate this so much. I try to think about it in a positive way because for some reason it's obviously very common because there is a whole freaking series about it. But you know, I seen footage a long time ago, and it was some Asian man living in someone's attic, and he would literally, there was footage of him coming out of the attic, drooping down, and then walking to the fridge, eating their food, and then going back up there. Could you imagine you're fighting with your spouse or your boyfriend or your girlfriend, and they're like, babe, I was saving those leftovers. Why the fuck did you eat them? And they're like, babe, you're so delusional. I would never eat your leftovers. I know how much you cherish them. And you guys are fighting, and they're sitting up there like, that steak was so good. Anyways, you guys, let's go to the comments. Commenter, it's called frogging when someone does this. If you want to go down a rabbit hole, it's a pretty long one. Glad you're okay and got out of there. Yeah, that's what I just said actually, is frogging. Commenter, my ex was a frogger. It was his favorite stalking technique. What the? Hide in my basement, and when I was gone, he'd shower and stuff. I thought I was losing my mind until one day, I'm having dinner with a male friend, and he laughs loudly. Out of nowhere, my ex appears ranting about me having another man over, etc., etc. One time, I was showering with my bathroom door, all house doors and all windows locked. In the middle of washing up, my bathroom door gets kicked open, and he's there, with my phone in his hand, ranting about a conversation I had with a man. I didn't feel safe in my home until he went to prison on unrelated charges. This man was so obsessed with me. He places things in my house so that he could call CPS and get the kids taken away, which he eventually did. What the hell? I've never seen such toxic energy. My gosh, girl. What a freaking psycho. Oh my gosh, I can imagine. It actually kind of made me laugh. I'm like, this is entertaining, but next time you're gonna get the shower gun to your face. You know what I mean? Ugh, ain't gonna catch me slipping in the shower. Literally or figuratively. Commenter, it had to be the owner because why would the room even have been built? So weird. What if he was coming out at night to steal your food or peek? Reminds me of that movie Barbarian. LOL. That's a really good observation. It could be the owner. It really could. Here's the thing, which people don't think about, and it honestly, I hate it. But you know, when you rent or when you buy a house, there's pictures of your house online. Not always the blueprints, but a lot of the times there's drawings of the layout of your house, and there's also tons of pictures, especially if it's been up for rent. When you sell a house, there's professional pictures taken, usually, of the layout of your house. Yes, crawl spaces sometimes go unnoticed. But this is something that really bothers me. Because when somebody breaks in your house, if they're a good criminal, they would look at the blueprints of your house and see where everything is. Because a lot of the times, they're not going to be turning on lights. They're going to want to know the layout of your house so they can have maximum robbery. Ugh, I hate it so much. I'm hoping eventually I can afford a house that I build myself that never gets put online. And, you know, I'm not that paranoid, you guys. I'm not like, oh my God, I have to be on high alert all the time because my house is on the internet. But it would be nice to have a house that has no pictures whatsoever, anywhere, 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 anywhere. It's just, I built it. It's mine. Nobody knows what the fuck it looks like inside. Anyways, let's go to another. What is a horrifying incident that has traumatized you forever? I was 12 when I started having night terrors. They'd come out of nowhere. One minute, I'd be asleep. The next, I'd be thrashing, screaming, my heart hammering like something was in the room with me. My parents did what they could, but they were exhausted. Sleep was a rare thing for all of us back then. That night wasn't supposed to be different from the others. It started like so many before it. I'd tossed and turned, then woke up in a half dreaming state. My body heavy with exhaustion, but my mind buzzing with leftover scraps of nightmare. The house was quiet, the air thick with that eerie stillness that only exists at 3 in the morning. I got up, rubbing my eyes, and stumbled to the bathroom. I didn't turn on the light. I never did. I was used to moving around in the dark. Besides, I was barely awake, just focused on emptying my bladder and getting back to bed. My limbs felt sluggish, my eyelids heavy. Then I saw the movement, a shadow, barely noticeable in my peripheral vision. I turned my head slightly, still groggy, my mind struggling to make sense of what I was seeing, and that's when I saw him. A man. He stood by the door to the bathroom, the one that led into my sister's room, just standing there, staring. He was wearing a tattered gray jumpsuit, like an old prison uniform. His skin looked pale, sickly in the dim light, and his head was nearly bald, just sparse, uneven patches of hair clinging to his scalp. One of his arms rested against a crutch. I couldn't move, I couldn't scream, I just sat there, breath shallow, hands gripping the sink, unable to look away. And then, I was in the basement. I don't remember running. I don't remember the stairs. I don't remember how I got to where my parents slept, but suddenly I was there, sobbing, hysterical. My dad woke up immediately. My mom too. What happened? My dad's voice was rough with sleep, but when he saw my face, he was fully awake. What's wrong? I couldn't even get the words out at first. I just shook my head, gasping, trying to force air into my lungs. Finally, I managed to choke it out. There is someone in the house. My dad didn't waste time. He grabbed the baseball bat he kept near the bed and went upstairs. I sat curled on the couch, my mom's arms around me, shivering so hard my teeth chattered. Minutes passed. Then my dad came back down. His face was unreadable. There's no one there, he said. I checked the bathroom, the kitchen. The doors are all locked. I tried to argue, tried to tell him what I saw, but he just shook his head. It was a dream, he said. It's okay. You can sleep down here tonight. I didn't argue. I knew what I had seen. I knew I hadn't imagined it. But if my dad said the house was safe, I had to believe him. I curled up on the couch. My mom stayed with me for a while, and my dad went back to bed. I didn't sleep. I couldn't. And then, about an hour later, I heard it. A sound from upstairs. A soft, unmistakable sound. The sliding bathroom door opening. I held my breath. Then, footsteps. Uneven, slow, limping. I was frozen. I wanted to scream for my dad, but something in me knew I shouldn't. Knew I had to stay silent. The footsteps moved towards the kitchen. Then nothing. I lay there, my body rigid with terror, waiting, listening. The house was silent again. I didn't sleep at all. When morning finally came, I told my dad what I'd heard. He didn't dismiss me this time. Instead, he grabbed his bat again and went upstairs to check the house in the daylight. This time, he found something. The fridge door was slightly open. The pantry too. Boxes of food had been knocked over. Some were missing. Someone had been in our house. I'll never forget the look on my dad's face when he realized it wasn't just my imagination. He checked the locks again, walked around the house looking for any sign of how the guy got in or out. We never found him. The police were called, but nothing ever came of it. No forced entry, no real evidence, just a lingering feeling of unease. I never saw the man again, but sometimes when I wake up in the middle of the night, heart pounding for no reason, I wonder, what if he had never left? You guys, if you listen to any of my advice on any of my videos, please listen to this. When you are clearing a house, and for those who do not know this term, it is when you are checking to see if there is something in your home, whether it be an animal, person, whatever. See if something is in your home. You need to check everything. Everything. If it is big enough for a person to be there, you need to check it. As in, showers. That's a huge one. We all know. It's in every movie. People hide in showers. Check showers. Check closets. Every nook and cranny. Even if a cabinet is big enough for a person, look in the cabinet. You need to look everywhere. Even if a door is locked, you need to open it and look. Thank God this person did not harm any of you. You were easy targets at that point. Your dad didn't even properly clear the house. What is that? No offense to your dad, but he could have got you all eliminated. Honestly, I think that a lot of my extra precautions are because when I was younger, I learned a lot of things, and it was just to do it and for fun from my father or from just things I wanted to learn. And for somebody to be dedicated to learn things like I learned, as in a career criminal, it's terrifying. Like me, I can't pick a lock now, but God almighty, I taught myself how to pick bolt locks when I was a kid. I was a really bad kid, you guys. I wasn't breaking into houses or doing anything like that. So when I was younger, I learned how to pick bolt locks. I can open windows with a butter knife or a credit card if they are locked. I learned how to be very, I can't even tell you how very quiet I could be, because I snuck out all the time. And my mom, being my mom, which she learned this very quickly, she would lock my windows when I snuck out, and I just unlock them real quick because I just needed a card or a butter knife. That's all I needed. The card for the slimmer normal windows, the butter knife for the anyways. It's very easy to get into someone's home and just click it back so they don't suspect you're in there. Well, none of the doors are open. None of the windows are unlocked. There's probably nobody in here, babe. There's probably nobody in here. This was exactly what happened with your father, and this is why I'm super cautious. Because just because everything is locked and closed and tidy does not mean somebody's not in here. I know from personal experience, because when I would sneak in, I'd just pop that bitch right open, walk in. And when I didn't have a card, I could just break in the front door. And this is really bad, you guys, okay? I could not pick a bolt lock if you paid me now. I couldn't. But when I was a kid, oh man, I was dedicated. I knew how to do it. Anyways, you guys, be cautious. And when you clear a house, do it correctly, please. And make sure you have a weapon, always. Let's go to another one. I just had to exit my house because I think there's a mimic in it. I really don't know where to post this for help as I'm genuinely freaking out. Just an hour ago, I was sitting at my desk playing video games when I heard my boyfriend say, "Baby?" 2 rooms over. The problem with this is my boyfriend works 2 p.m. to 11 p.m. today. My mom is also at a meeting about an hour and a half from where the house is. No one should be in the house except me. When I heard it for the first time, I instinctively turned my head toward the sound. Then I cursed myself because that meant I acknowledged whatever just spoke. I quickly turned back to my game and pretend I didn't hear anything. Whatever it was kept saying, "Baby," in my boyfriend's voice every few minutes or so. I got up to see where my dog was, and he was just laying where he usually was without a care. I tried to coax him to where I was sitting so I felt protected, but he didn't move. I went back to my desk and really tried to ignore it as best as I could. Then I decided to call my friend so that I wasn't alone. About 8 minutes into our conversation of me trying to pretend everything is okay and that I heard nothing but my friend, I hear a whisper right into my ear. Insert my name. While I was still on the phone, I shut my computer off, grabbed my purse, and headed out the door. I sat in the car with the windows up and locked the doors. That's when I told my friend what was happening, and I was freaking out a bit. I drove to my boyfriend's work, where I am currently sitting in the parking lot, typing this out. I have read stories about mimics and watched videos. I know they probably aren't true, but damn, they scare me. But I've never experienced anything like this before. I'm really freaked out and I don't know what to do. I googled how to get rid of them. There's not really much people have to say with relevance. I really need advice or help here. And mods, if you remove this, please tell me where to post instead, because I am seriously scared and don't know what to do. Edit to add. I've always been able to feel spirits since I was little. I've only once felt true malevolence when I was about 15, and I heavily suppressed my ability to feel spirits after that, because holy shit, it scared the fuck out of me. Later in life, I was in an accident that I died, but paramedics brought me back to life. Before the accident, I hadn't felt or seen a spirit in years, but as soon as I woke up, I was able to see them clear as day. I didn't try to suppress the ability, as pretty much every spirit I saw or felt was just existing and neutral towards me. I felt something when I heard this voice, so I know it's not in my head. I've always unfortunately been a scaredy cat despite dealing with spirits my whole life. I wish I didn't have this ability. I also never really explored how to properly deal with spirits or any rituals or such, because I felt like it was something I'm not allowed to do since I have no cultural connection to any of those practices. Okay, so I do not know what a mimic is, so we are going to look this up together. What is a mimic? Demon. I don't like to read these AI ones. Let's see. Mimic demons are also bodyguards to the mind demons and are linked with the same mind demon for its lifetime. The demon loves to emit the voices of parents to lead their child to death or worse. The most powerful mimic demon can use multiple different demon attributes at the same time. Okay, so with that being said, you did a note to add about being dead and being brought back. My mind is kind of going to, you were probably meant to die and you cheated death, and maybe this thing is trying to bring you to it. This is terrifying, and that sounds like a movie plot. Don't get me wrong, I know it sounds freaking Looney Tunes, but I feel like a lot of people, when they have experiences with death like this, they have weird things that happen. With our life-saving techniques, it is kind of like playing God when you bring somebody back. I would be very scared. If this was me, I would probably go out of my way to find somebody to cleanse my house, cleanse my spirit, kind of do a factory reset if that's possible. I don't know. I would go to extreme measures, because if this is a mimic, all demons are bad, okay? But this is a demon that literally wants to lure you to your death. I don't know about you, but I would be taking very cautious, extreme, over-the-top measures to get this the fuck out of my life. I don't care if I have to hire the Wicked Witch of the West. I do not care. I don't care if it is going to be a bad energy that gets this bad energy away. Come, please. Fight demons with demons. Get it away from me. Get it away. Get it away. We are not doing this. Let's go to the comments. Commenter, easier said than done, but some people say you can starve it by completely ignoring it, not giving it any attention, not reacting to it, etc. 100% easier said than done. When you hear your name, you're going to be like, bitch, what? The idea being that they feed off of fear and you can cultivate a genuine fearless mindset and just ignore it as being beneath you. It'll go away and look for easier prey. Also, not a bad idea to make sure you aren't developing schizophrenia or some kind of thyroid imbalance or something, which can also lead people to hear voices. I have never heard of this. I'm gonna have to look into this because this is very interesting. Also, maybe not a bad idea to start looking for a new place to live in case you aren't hallucinating. Edit. I will add that in general, it's good to cultivate a mindset that you're not a victim, that you won't let your emotions be controlled by some asshole outer force, and know that tons of people have experienced and are experiencing this too, so you aren't alone. Tell that mimic to fuck off by completely ignoring it, even when it's trying its best to be spooky. Oh, be spooky! Commenter, fuck, I was hoping the answer wasn't to try and ignore it. It's always been difficult for me to ignore scary stuff. My doctor also has been monitoring my thyroid for diabetes. It runs in my family, and it's been perfectly fine so far. As for my mental health state, I also go to therapy and a psychiatrist, so maybe I'll just ask her about possibilities for developing that when it doesn't run in either side of my family. Quick fact, you guys. Quick little fact. So we are one of the only countries that does not classify Alzheimer's as diabetes. I know that this is not the same thing, but I'm just going to throw this fact out there. So we are the only ones that do not treat Alzheimer's as a sugar issue, meaning we're just throwing rocks at it. Just a little food for thought. So every other country pretty much, but us, classifies Alzheimer's as diabetes. So treat it as diabetes. Just saying. I know that this is talking about schizophrenia, but you have a history of diabetes in your family. So it's good to know if you have any form of diabetes, that this is also a form of diabetes. And it's something to look out for and to make sure you're keeping your diabetes under control. And I'm not a doctor, you guys. Okay? I'm not a doctor. I just tell you what I think, and you do what you want with the information I tell you. Commenter, have you had any insomnia or other health events recently? I've had auditory hallucinations from that. It scared the crap out of me. Stress, grief, and depression can also cause them. Commenter, been sleeping at least 8 to 9 hours a night. That's a lot. I think that's normal, but I've been clinically depressed my whole life, and I've never heard things that weren't there before. Yeah, well, ignoring them, let's be real, you can't really ignore them. I heard this story a while back that my friend, they used to see this spirit in their room. And do not do this. This is not what you're supposed to do. And instead of being scared of it because they heard the same thing, you can't be scared. You have to act like you don't give a fuck. They literally would charge at it. They would literally look at it and fucking charge at it. Needless to say, the thing went away real quick. So you're like, what the hell is wrong with this meatball? What is wrong with this meatball head? What are they doing? Anyways, let's go to another one. Beware the sympathy trap, how a grieving son turned creepy fast. This is a long one. Bear with me. Oh, we bared. We love long ones, baby. A bit of context before I begin. I, 21 female, work in the hospitality industry, specifically doing graveyard shifts, usually running from 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. I have seen and dealt with some of the most insane experiences. I could probably write a book at this point, but this particular experience was one of the most frightening. I was brought up to be caring, empathetic, and understanding. These core values mean a lot to me, and I live by them. On numerous occasions, I've been told that constantly having this mentality could lead to me being targeted by people with ill intentions, and I didn't believe that. It's nice to be nice, after all. But in hindsight, after everything that's happened, I've learned to be a bit more skeptical. Usually on these graveyard shifts, there's 2 of us in the building at all times, and when we finish our work, we are basically free to sit down and relax for the remainder of our shift, or at least until the morning manager arrived at roughly 6 a.m. But I did just that, finished my task and sat down in the main area of the building to have a late night snack and watch some reels on my phone. As you do, my coworker decided he would take a nap as it was roughly 3 a.m. at this point and nobody was around. Fine by me. About 20 minutes passed when I heard a commotion near the bar area. Obviously, I looked up from my phone, only to be met with the eyes of this man, about 40 maybe, just standing at the bar counter. This wasn't unusual. Oftentimes, people would come down to grab some water or a smoke before heading back to bed. I thought nothing of it and went back to doom scrolling on my phone. Sorry, excuse me. I let out a sigh, thinking to myself, what could this man possibly want from me at 3:30 a.m.? I stood up and asked if he was okay and apologized for being on my phone, hoping he wouldn't complain to my manager in the morning. He responded, but I couldn't quite pick up what he was saying. I walked over to the bar and kindly asked him to repeat himself, apologizing for not hearing him. "Is it okay I have some water?" He was shaking, almost nervous, soft-spoken, and honestly non-threatening, bar the fact he was about 6 foot tall and I'm about 5 foot. Of course I said yes and went to walk away when he stopped me. "I'm sorry, is it okay if I talk to you for a while? My mom is dying in hospital and I can't sleep." Looking back, I'm kicking myself for not making up some excuse about needing to do work, but I agreed to stay and talk with him. Stupid fucking empathy. He asked if I smoked, and I do, so I said yes. He then asked me to step outside to smoke and talk, and I stupidly agreed. We talked about his mom, and I tried my best to comfort him. I recently had someone pass away, so this topic of conversation hit particularly hard. He thanked me for being so kind and continued to talk about his life. How he used to be homeless, but he moved in with his sister and got back on his feet. And that they were both staying here due to the circumstances, but were not from the city. I listened and occasionally responded by nodding. It was a polite conversation, but then something changed. "Are there any cameras out here? I wouldn't want you to get in trouble for being out here." How this didn't register in my mind as a red flag is unbelievable. How gullible can you be? Anyways, thankfully, I didn't respond with yes or no. Just assured him I wouldn't get into trouble for being outside smoking. He seemed disappointed with my answer. I presume because he didn't get any information about where the cameras were placed. The conversation kept getting weirder and creepier. None of this I realized. I just saw a sad man needing a friend. Yes, I know, I'm stupid, and I'm angry at myself too. Eventually, some sort of fight or flight activated in my brain. I told him I was cold and was going to head in. "Come here, give me a hug. It'll warm you up." What the fuck? At this point, I'm creeped out, but thinking maybe he's just bad at picking up social cues or something. So I declined and walked inside. He followed. He asked if he could grab a coffee and sit with me for a while, and being by myself on the verge of a panic attack and not wanting to get on this guy's bad side, I agreed. We sat there and continued to ask odd questions. "Do you have kids?" "No." "Do you want kids?" "Do you have a boyfriend?" I told him I have a fiance. A lie. "Do you love him?" No harm in asking these questions. You're so beautiful. At this point, my brain is screaming at me to get out of this situation. I had to think quick. "Come sit next to me. I won't bite." Fuck no. I quickly made up the excuse that I had to get the area ready for the morning and my manager would be showing up any minute. At the same time, my coworker woke from his nap and passed by to get a coffee. This startled the man and he stood up before saying, "Tell your mom I was asking for her," forcing a hug, and left to go to his room. Oh my fucking god. He was pretending to be a family friend so that my coworker wouldn't be suspicious of him. I stood there in shock, not even being able to speak. My brain was still trying to process what the fuck just happened. I kept quiet, helping my coworker set up for the morning as it was now 5:30 a.m. Yes, I was dealing with this man for 2 fucking hours. I sat down at 5:50 and waited for my manager to show up so that I could finally go home, hoping that man wouldn't come back before I got to leave. Wishful thinking. He showed up behind me out of nowhere. "I think I'll go to the shops. I'm out of smokes." Okay, I need to know this why. I kept silent before he asked me for my pen, which I gave him, and he walked off again. He returned 5 minutes later and gave me back my pen. "I wrote a note for you," stood close to me, dropped a piece of cardboard behind my back, and walked away. In hindsight, I see how sneaky this was. He made sure no one could see him dropping that note. I picked it up. It was pretty weird, but one line in particular made my skin crawl. "Wear tighter work pants for me next time. They'd look good. Winky face." Harmless. I ran to the office and sat in front of the CCTV monitor, seeing exactly where he was. He was standing outside the building, pacing, waiting. He then walked back into the building, and on the camera I could see him looking for me. But thankfully at this point I was in the office, so he walked back outside, started pacing again, and waiting before hiding himself out of sight behind a corner. I told my manager, who told me to exit via the back entrance, which I did. I was shaking, checking behind me every few seconds. Every noise making me run faster and faster until I eventually reached the safety of my home. I sat down processing what had just happened when suddenly my phone vibrated. "Hey, it's Name. Thanks for the chat. Talk soon. Winky face." How the fuck did he get my number? I have never blocked someone quicker in my life. I told the higher-ups what had happened and didn't return to work for at least a month, and until he was permanently barred from my workplace. I still fear I'll see him somewhere, that he'll be waiting. Thankfully, I haven't seen him since and don't wish to. And if you're reading this, let's not meet again. I know people are so quick with blocking numbers, but in this case, I would 100% never block this number unless he was constantly blowing up my phone. Why? You're probably wondering. People like this don't like to be quiet or pushed away. It would be good to know if he has information on you. Example, he obviously found your phone number somehow. How did he find your phone number? He also can find other things about you, your home address. If you can find somebody's phone number, let's be real, you can find their address just as easy. It's all public information. So for you to block him, it's a bad move. It really is. I know it makes you feel better, but if he's gonna text you some crazy shit, you never know. He might text you one day and be like, hey, blah, 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 blah. I'm outside your house. You'll never know now. That's just me. When somebody is super weird like this, your first reaction is, of course, to block them. But for me, it's better to just see the text flooding in and know what they're saying and what they're thinking and how unhinged they are in this certain state. So if I should be on high alert, if I could possibly be being stalked, being watched, if he's watching my every move, if he's at my house, if he is at the same diner as me when I'm eating with my friend. These are things I would want to know in real time. Because you know this man is not just gonna leave it at a text. You know he's not. He stalked you at work. He found your phone number. I don't know if blocking him was the checkmate that you think it is. I don't think it's good. I don't. This guy's creepy. Let's go to the comments. Commenter, oh my word. Thankfully, your what the fuck and get the fuck out powers activated. You never gave him anything to cling to or information about yourself. I am like you, am way too nice of a person. I get trapped in conversations I'm desperately searching for a way out of. Annoyed but not creeped out. Being nice sucks. I'm 40 now and still getting myself in these situations. FFS. How did your job react to your month-ish sabbatical? It seems they understood your issue. It's so awful that there are people in the world that are just waiting to take advantage of kindness and empathy like that. My job was understanding for the most part, but I definitely got spoken to about the importance of keeping myself safe. I'm the same kind of person. I give people the benefit of the doubt and I get stuck in conversations all the time. Like when I was working at Walmart, oh my god, dude. I would have people approach me all the time. And you know, I'm at work. So it's almost like you're in a hostage situation because you gotta be nice, you know? Like, this is my job. This is my workplace. I think it should be illegal to hit on people at their job. Anyways, this guy came up to me and he was really nice and he's like, hey, do you have a man? And blah, 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 blah. And at this point in my life, I did not. I was like, no, you know, I'm just doing me. I don't want anybody. I'm just by myself kind of thing. And he starts talking to me. And me being the person that I am, I'm like, okay, I'll engage in the conversation. We can talk. And he's like, I have this business, and gave me his business card and was like, blah, 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 blah. And me trying to diffuse the conversation, I was like, is there something that you need? Like, do you need help finding something? I'm at work right now. I can't really be chatting. You're going to get me in trouble, which he probably couldn't have got me in trouble, but I'm like, please get away from me. He was like a 50-year-old man, had to be at least 50. He was so nice, okay? But I could tell he was trying to hit on me and trying to make something of this. And he started asking me my schedule. He said, when are you going to be here next? When am I going to be able to see you and have a conversation with you outside of work? And blah, 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 blah. And I was like, this is my second job. I'm here so sporadically. I'm here when I can get here. I don't have a schedule, which I had a schedule. I worked certain nights every night after work. He said he's going to make me this meal he used to always make for his wife that had passed away and blah, 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 blah. And he'll just give it to a coworker to give to me whenever I work next. And I was like, okay, I gotta go. Needless to say, I will never take food from a stranger like this. Even if it looks incredible. I'm not going to take food. It's hard enough for me to eat at a potluck with people I trust. I'm not going to eat your special food. I don't know what it was. He never brought it. Maybe he got the hint. I am just like you guys. I try really hard to be nice, to be cordial, because I'm like, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt and I'll let them talk way longer than they should. I'm way better now. I'll tell you, I'm way better cutting it off now. I'm like, I'm sorry. No, I know it's easier said than done. You do not owe anybody your time. Nobody is obligated for your attention, for your conversation. And that is a hard pill to swallow for a lot of people. Just because you approach me and you want to talk to me doesn't mean I have to talk to you. Sorry. Maybe I'm in a hurry. Maybe I don't want you hitting on me. Maybe I am in a very vulnerable state and I don't want to have communication with somebody. Maybe I'm on the verge of crying and you saying hi is going to make me break down. Don't talk to me. If I am not showing social cues that I want to initiate in this conversation, please don't do it. Anyways, let's go to another one. Strange man shows up at my house with odd letters addressed to Prince Andrew, same person from a year ago. On June 10th, 2025, exactly 12 p.m., a man in his 30s of Asian descent, wearing a hat and sunglasses to conceal himself, came to my house and rang the doorbell. He vividly searched for a front camera, and when he discovered it, just stared at it for a couple moments. When a family member answered, he asked if Andrew was home. My family member initially misunderstood and thought he said a similar sounding female name, so they responded that she was not home. The man then repeated, Andrew, and my family member corrected themselves, saying no one named Andrew lived there. The man asked, who are you? And my family member replied, I'm her daughter. Upon hearing this, he appeared visibly disturbed and in disbelief, as if something didn't add up for him, or instead all clicked. He then left, but returned a few minutes later to ring the doorbell again. When no one answered, he slipped a handwritten letter under the door. The envelope was addressed to Prince Andrew, and instead the letter was signed by the name of Louis Valentine. The letter claimed that since 2015 he had received 3 knight titles and 3 prince titles, but had never received any funds related to them. He asked for instructions on how to be a prince or how to earn a living from it, expressed confusion about what kind of god he could learn from, and requested help to recover 6 lost funds connected to these titles, referring to his diplomas as betraying him. This is the exact same man who sent a very similar letter nearly a year ago, only that nobody was home at the time of it, with identical handwriting and referenced disorganized rambling to Prince Andrew. Same appearances, same handwriting, same context. Generally, what is happening? I'll tell you what's happening. This man has some mental issues, some mental health issues. He probably truly believes that he is a prince. He has won all these things. You are not giving him the funding you promised. And Andrew needs to reveal himself. You know, your brain does some really terrifying things. It really does. I think the fact that people hallucinate and they have schizophrenia and they can vividly see things and even sometimes feel things that aren't there is absolutely mind-blowing. And it also is very telling about what we could actually do with our brain. But it does sound like this man's a little crazy. He's just a little crazy and he's confused. It doesn't really seem like he's gonna harm you guys. He look confused. Let's go to the comments. Commenter, sounds like someone has a mental illness and believes he is a prince. Commenter, schizophrenia for sure. Commenter, could be that or cracktivities. It could be because, you know, drugs give you psychosis as well. Commenter, oh my god, this man has shown up at my workplace several times. Oh my god, this man has shown up at my workplace several times over the last few years and has done the same thing. Commenter, wait, what? Come on now. Okay, now we're all lying. We're all lying. Commenter, he might be a victim of a scam. And it's a mental illness that others have said. Maybe someone online told him that they are Prince Andrew and could give him the titles for a small fee that would be reimbursed through these funds later on. When he pressed the scammer about the funds, he randomly gave him your address so he could stop bothering him. That's a great idea, actually. It sounds like, yeah, maybe this guy got scammed and he's like, here's my address. Come collect your fees. And it's y'all's address. He's like, no harm, no foul. I don't have to deal with it. Y'all do. Bye-bye. I might be a little nervous because when funds get involved, people get a little loco. But it seems like he's not really doing anything harmful yet. So I wouldn't be too alarmed. I would just make sure I keep all my doors and windows locked. That's what I would do. Anyways. Disturbing experience at a rest stop. I recently came across this subreddit and thought I'd share a somewhat unsettling encounter I had at a rest stop. This happened several months ago while I, was moving across country to Las Vegas. I arrived night before I was supposed to check in. and get the keys to my new apartment. I didn't feel it was necessary to get a hotel room, so I decided to sleep a few hours at a pilot travel stop and then head to my apartment in the morning. There was a particular parking area to the side of the building with 3 or 4 rows of spaces. The furthest row was near a fenced-off area. Most of the spots were filled with trucks and vans, likely other drivers who had also stopped to rest. I parked my car in a space closest to the main building since it had the most light and decided to get some rest. I had been asleep in the driver's seat for about an hour when I suddenly startled awake by the sound of someone walking near my door. I looked over and saw a guy starting to walk away. Then he turned around and saw that I was awake and looking at him, gave a little wave, and started walking back toward my car. He said, "Hey man, sorry to wake you, but my car won't start, and I was wondering if you could give me a jump." I was half awake and for some reason just kind of mumbled, "Sure, I guess." And he replied, "Great, follow me around." This part was clearly a stupid decision on my part, but I'll continue nonetheless. So I started my car and drove around to where he was walking. He led me to the far back row of the parking area, in the back corner near the fence. At this point, I was starting to realize how shady the situation felt. I stopped my car about halfway down the row, thinking, just back up and drive off. This is dangerous. He saw that I had stopped and started waving at me to pull forward. For some stupid reason, I did. But I kept my windows up and the doors locked. I also grabbed my phone and pepper spray from my carry bag on the passenger seat. As I pull up, I saw an old beat-up RV parked next to an even more beat-up truck, which was filled with garbage in the bed. The truck was facing the fence, with the back toward the parking row where I was. The guy was standing near the front of the truck, waving jumper cables and signaling me to pull closer. The way the truck and the RV were positioned, there was barely enough space for a car to squeeze between them. Suddenly, a woman stepped out of the RV and began signaling for me to pull up as well. At this point, I was completely suspicious and freaked out. I shouted out the window, "No, I'm not pulling up there. If the cables can't reach, you'll have to find someone else." She got angry and started screaming at me to pull up, and then the guy ran over to her, yelling at her to shut up and get back inside the RV. He then walked out to the driver's side of my car and said, "Just pull up closer to the truck so I can hook the cables up and we'll be done." By that point, everything about the situation felt off, and I said, "No, I'm not going to be able to help you with this." He gave me an irritated look and said, "Seriously? I've got to get to my mother's house. She's not feeling too well, you know?" I replied, "I need to go," and started backing out of the parking area to leave the situation. As I was pulling away, I saw the woman come back out of the RV and start shouting at the man, pointing toward my car. I couldn't tell what she was saying, but I got out of there quick and found another location closer to the city to spend the rest of the night. I don't know if they genuinely needed help or if it was a setup or something more dangerous, but I immediately regretted the decision I made. It was clear the situation could have taken a very bad turn. When somebody gets angry that I'm not helping them fast enough, sorry, I'm Audi 5000. Nope. That screams, 1, something weird is up. 2, fuck you. The audacity. I'm doing you a favor when I don't have to. And for you to be like, come on, dude. Move it a little faster. Turtle speed we got going here. Yeah, you made the right decision. Whether they were going to rob you or not, it almost seems they didn't need your help because they're dicks. It almost seems they don't deserve your help, so fuck them. Plus, they're at a truck stop. They will have hundreds of other opportunity to get their car jumped if they really need to. And why didn't he ask the woman in the RV to jump the truck with the RV? Can you not do that? Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know if it's too powerful of an engine. I don't really know. I know that you can go car to car. The whole place was full. You could have asked anybody. Anyways, let's go to a comment. Commenter, that sounded suspicious. If they had a running RV, they could have jumped their truck themselves. My question, especially being in the darkest, most isolated spot where nobody can see you if something was wrong, good that you listen to your self-preservation instincts. Commenter, this is what I had thought. Why did they need help if the RV was working? Sometimes truck stops like that have maintenance things for trucks, and they usually have a jumper box or battery chargers. And if it's a bigger stop, they have maintenance guys that are willing to help. I have had to get a jump start at Love's and Pilot before, and they had a jumper box to use. They handed it right over to me when I asked if they had anyone or anything to help. OP responded, "That's interesting to know. I didn't even realize these stops offered maintenance support. I was already feeling a bit uneasy as I pulled up to the truck, but when that woman came out of the RV, it really set off alarm bells. I knew it was best to get out of there. I didn't know that they had this at truck stops, but it does make a lot of sense. It's almost like a camping site. They have all the showers, the TV room, they have food, kind of have a little of everything. They have sleeping spots, blah, 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 blah. Makes sense they'd have all this. The more you know. Let's go. All right, everybody. That dreadful time has come and gone again. Don't forget, like, subscribe, comment, whatever you want to do. It's all up to you.